All right, let's pull back the curtain on something pretty cool today. We're going to talk about the single most important function in every iOS app, a piece of code that runs way before your own code ever gets a chance. It is the invisible engine that brings every single application to life. I mean, really, have you ever stopped to think about it? You hit that run button in Xcode, the simulator or your phone lights up, and boom, your app is there. But there's this whole world of setup that happens in that split second. So what's the magic that kicks it all off?
Well, here's the answer. It's a function called UIApplicationMain. This is it. This is the true entry point. It's not code you write, but it's the very first thing the system calls. Just think of it like turning the key in a car. It's the ignition switch that starts the entire engine of your application.
Okay, so what is this invisible engine actually doing? It's not just sitting there. It has 4 really critical jobs to do before your app can even think about showing a screen. Let's break them down. First up, it creates the main application object itself, the UI application. You can think of this as the heart of your app. Then it creates your app delegate, which is your custom doorway for handling big system-level events. After that, it gets to work laying all the groundwork, setting up the necessary infrastructure. And finally, and this is the absolute key, it kicks off the main event loop. That event loop, that's what makes your app interactive. It's this endless cycle that's constantly listening for things to happen. You know, a user tapping the screen, a push notification coming in. Without this loop running, your app would just be a dead, static image. It wouldn't respond to anything. This is the moment your app truly comes alive.
Now, if you're a modern Swift developer, you're probably scratching your head right now, thinking, wait a minute, I've never written UIApplicationMain in my entire life. And you'd be right. That's because Swift gives us this wonderful little bit of magic called an attribute. It's basically a super clean and simple way to do something much more complex under the hood.
So when you slap that little @main attribute at the top of your app delegate file, this is what you're really telling the compiler. You're basically tapping it on the shoulder and saying, hey, you know that whole main entry point thing and that UI application main business? Yeah, could you just handle all of that for me? Thanks. And you can see that evolution right here. We used to have a more specific attribute, @UIApplicationMain. Now, in modern Swift, it's just @main. It's a perfect example of moving from complexity to simplicity. But here's the kicker. They both do the exact same job. They just hide that powerful underlying function to keep our own code looking clean and focused. But we're not just going to leave it there. We want to know what's really going on, right? So what exactly is that @main attribute hiding from us? Let's pull that curtain all the way back and look at the original function call, straight from the days of Objective-C. And whoa, check this out. It's the perfect comparison. On the left, you've got that one simple, elegant word, @main. On the right, that's the beast it's taming for you. That complex C-style function is the machinery that @main is putting into motion every single time. It really shows you how much heavy lifting is being done for us by the compiler. Now, don't let those parameters scare you. They're actually pretty straightforward. argc and argv are just old holdovers for command line arguments, which we don't really use in iOS apps. The nil part just tells the system to use the standard default UAPX class. And that last part, that's the important one. It's just a way of telling the system, hey, this class right here, this is my app delegate. See? Not so scary after all. Okay, so we've gone pretty deep into the guts of an iOS app. But the big question is, why does any of this actually matter? This is where we connect the dots from theory to the real world, and maybe even to your next technical interview. Because UIApplicationMain is, without a doubt, number 1. It is the Genesis block. It's the absolute, undisputed starting point of your application's entire lifecycle. Everything else, your views, your data, your user interactions, it all flows from the work that this one function does right at the very beginning. So let's recap the big takeaways. UIApplicationMain is the true entry point of your app, period. It's what bootstraps the whole lifecycle. It's what kicks off that event loop so your app can actually respond to a user. And even though it's hidden away by @main in modern Swift, you got to remember, it is always there, working behind the scenes. And honestly, knowing this stuff, it's a key concept that interviewers love to ask about, because it shows you really understand the fundamentals. So the next time you launch an app, you'll know about that invisible engine that brought it all to life. And it kind of leaves you with one final thought, doesn't it? If all of that is going on before your app delegate even wakes up, what other magic is happening in the layers below? What else is being set up before that very first line of your own code even runs?